into the future, but we can help you see ahead of you better than the other guys. So that's kind of seeing into the future in a way.
Anthony, if that doesn't answer your question, that was strong. That was well played. Thank you. Next is let's dive into some of the products. Tell us about the technology. Drew is asking, how is Shred Optics different? Let's take a look at some of the safety features and technology into these helmets.
Yeah, so a couple different things. This is our slam cap, one of our snow helmets. One thing we have is our SlideTech Second Skin No Shock. So basically it's our foam material that we use in our back protectors. Okay. We figured out a few years ago that co-molding this in with the helmet, we could actually improve the impact safety of it. So the foam actually allows for the forces to be dissipated laterally, so that's a big thing. Also, we have our rotational energy system, so it allows for the helmet to have like a free floating on your head. So in those oblique impacts, or impacts that aren't just straight down, where you want the head to slide, it allows for that little bit of motion. It's motion every single angle, so that's a huge advantage there as well.
So when people are talking maybe on the sales floor and talking to a customer, what's one thing that an expert can tell someone who's considering a Shred helmet?
Safety-wise, just those two things I talked about, the SlideTech Second Skin No Shock and the rotational energy system. Those are two big technology pieces in our helmets. And they're something nobody else in the market has, so they're huge innovations we've made. Goggle side of things, we have the biggest field of view of anybody out there, so that's been super important for me. When I first started the company, I wanted something that allowed me to get in the lowest tuck possible, or if you're a free-ride guy, you can see a landing earlier in your flip, so that's super important. So we have the biggest field of view of anybody else out there. We have our contrast boosting lens technology. And we have our no distortion as well, so we have some great technologies there.
So talk to me about that first time you were like, I've got to create this. What was that like? What was that moment on the hill where you're like, okay, I need something different?
So I started Shred in 2006 with my partner Carlos Almini, and he'd been making shin guards and some other protective pieces for me and some other guys leading up to that. And we're actually on a mountain bike ride here in Park City, and I was telling him about this idea I had for Shred at the time. Brands associated with racing were super, super dorky, and the brands that were the cooler brands, they didn't have a big field of view, they didn't have some of the features that I needed, and I wanted a product that I could go race at the top, highest level, and then also go free ski and whatever, and be able to have the perfect performance in that area, but also something that looked cool. So cool. That was a big part of it. Yeah,
absolutely. Tell us about, Mason's asking, what are some of your flagship products? So
this is
specific models.
This is our Simplify Natural. So actually what's cool about this is it's made out of recycled, reclaimed waste from snowboard manufacturing. So nice. We partnered with POW and Capita. So we're taking Capita's waste material from their snowboards and making it into a goggle frame. So that's been really cool, and we're working in conjunction with POW as well. So us out there, we're out there in the snow, and climate change is an important thing in protecting our playground. So I think it was is a good natural fit to try to have some innovative ideas around making products more sustainable.
Awesome. And want to take a moment and show the demo of how you would kind of show how these goggles work. So if you're in the retail store, someone's considering some Shred, and you want to show the power of field of view, I'm going to go ahead and take my glasses off, and I want to walk me through the demo. So let's say you're the salesman, and I'm looking at these. So I put them on, a little loose, that's okay. Oh, wow, you're right about the field of view. Okay, walk us through, because I think experts are curious of how do you tell the story of field of view?
So one of the things we do is we have a POP in stores, but one thing, if you were wearing the goggles, I just walk along the side of you and you tell me, well, you're not wearing the goggles right now.
Oh, I gotta put the goggles on. Step one, put on the goggles. Okay, here we go.
So you slowly walk up from the side, and they tell you when they can see you at the side.
Gotcha. And I can see, and you can probably take a step back. I think I can see you.
Right there?
Yeah.
So then what you do is then you put on a competitor's goggle and do the same thing, and generally somebody's up in here.
Oh, gotcha.
That's one way from the side. The same thing you can do is if you just have your chin down, looking at the top of the goggle, somebody's like way out in front of you walking up, and you wait until you still see their feet.
Oh,
do
gotcha.
that versus another competitor too. So I mean, those are like the two big places, or side and up top
Up and
is
down.
where you want to have.
Could you do this one as well?
You could do that one if you're
Yeah.
like, yeah.
As I'm doing,
shoot for a beam up in the roof,
Yeah.
you know, like.
because I'm doing so many backflips,
Yeah.
you know, in my career as
Exactly.
a amateur skier.
Yeah.
Awesome. No, that's great. So that is kind of the demo. Is if
Yeah.
you're on the sales floor, yeah, do the walk behind and then front to back. That's
Yep.
great. So we're getting a lot more questions. Keep those questions coming. If you're just joining us, we're here at the Expert Live Show with Experticity with Ted Ligety. You can also ask him questions about the Olympics upcoming. We're going to talk about Korea.
Yep.
It's exciting stuff. 2018. Let's dive back in here. You know, I think we talked about what makes Shred Optics unique. I think it's that field of view. But David's asking this: what other things makes Shred Optics unique? And the sustainability. I think that's huge as well.
I mean, I think our story is really unique. It's, you know, out there in the world of snow sports, it's basically like 4 or 5 like conglomerates that basically own everything. And so, you know, we're one of the unique brands out there. You know, still homegrown. We have a cool story. You know, having myself and an engineer start the company. So, for myself, like in order to compete at my highest level, I need the best products out there. I think that was a big inspiration of starting the company and being so involved, is that I wanted products that would give me an advantage on the hill. And then we have the experts out there that can help us make that possible for sure. So that's a big part of it. It's, you know, it's fun, unique in that sense, but you know, the technology and the product side of things are really on the forefront.
Nice. Tell us about gear testing. Do you work with kind of a community of gear testers all around the world to really get a full understanding of what changes need to be made? You know, what is that process like?
So we're lucky. We have a wide range of athletes, from ski racers to snowboarders to free riders, and we're always asking them for input. So, you know, our engineering team and our product team, we're always come up with prototypes, and we have, you know, those prototypes go right to the snow. All of our engineers are also skiers or snowboarders or mountain bikers, so they're out there actually doing the sports as well. So they like know exactly like the problems we're trying to conquer. So they can product test, but then also our athletes give us a ton of input as well. And so we're taking input from all sides, and just trying to solve these problems that you encounter when you're out there trying to have fun.
And you know, we're here in Park City, Utah, probably one of the best playgrounds to be in for summer, winter. We're blocks away from the slopes and also from the mountain bike trails. So it's a good place to be.
Yeah, it's great.
Let's talk about, safety and clarity. Kelsey is asking, what's the major target audience for Shred? And, can you talk about clarity a little bit with the lens? What are things that make you guys stand out?
Yeah, so I mean, on the clarity of lens, so like one of the big things we're pushing right now on our lens technology is the CBL lens, which is our contrast boosting lens. So as you know, when you're out there, if it's a sunny day, it's like easy to see everything, but you also want to have fun when it's a cloudy, dark day or a snow day or whatnot too. Sure. So the contrast boosting lens allows you to see more contrast in the flat light conditions. So it's actually relaxing your eye, and it's weeding out some of the other light rays that kind of distract your eyes, so you can actually see more contrast on the snow. So that's a big thing for us on the clarity side of things.
Do you feel like that also makes it so people don't have to swap out their lenses for different conditions? Is it kind of multi-condition?
Yeah, it's multi-condition. It works well when it's sunny, but it really shines when it's cloudy and stuff.
Cool. Yeah, I think that's a big pain point for people too, and hanging on to multiple lenses and swapping them out as maybe conditions change.
Yeah.
No, that's good. So what was that technology again? CBL?
That's CBL, a contrast boosting lens, yeah.
Great. Also, question, what is the Shred short stack? Arnaldo is asking, I love the Shred short stack, fits like a baseball cap.
So this is our Shred short stack. This is our mountain bike helmet.
Okay.
Shred, we started basically, the idea was based out of a mountain bike ride. I'm a huge mountain bike, ride mountain bike all summer long. That's a big part of my cross training. And a couple years ago, we decided we needed to make a mountain bike helmet because we didn't want to be wearing our competitors' stuff, and we thought we could still do, incorporate a lot of our, groundbreaking technologies from the snow helmet side of things into the bike helmets. So this has the rotational energy system. So same thing, where it allows the helmet to have a free float on impact on your head, and then also the the SliTech second skin no shock in there. So
Gotcha.
you know, 2 big technology pieces that improve safety greatly, and then you know, just a good looking mountain bike helmet, super comfy. That's super important when you're out on a 4-hour plus mountain bike ride or whatever you're, an hour, however long you're going out there for. But it's a great helmet, and you know, still it's keeping the fun colorways as well with the mountain bikes.
I was going to ask you about the color, because the orange, I mean, it's cool looking, but is there a safety element there? I mean, coming down a trail and this big bright orange, colors coming down the trail, does that help a little bit? Is that
could be seen as a safety element. I wouldn't say that's necessarily the main goal of that, because we have some stuff that's maybe a little bit more blending in.
Sure.
but definitely advantageous.
No,
for sure.
it's all good. Sandra. So we got to talk about Sandra for a second. Sandra is an expert. She joined us. She says, we've adopted 2 puppies and named them Ted and Bodie.
That's awesome.
And she says, are you okay that the one named after you turned out to be the wild child?
It seems like it should have been the other way around, right?
Okay. Awesome. Sandra, thank you for sharing that personal information. If anyone else has named anybody Ted, or animals or children, maybe you can just let us know now. That's interesting. Thank you. Are Shred goggles only form-fitted to Shred helmets? This is coming from Gord. I think some systems work really well together. Is that the same case with you, or are they kind of flexible?
They're flexible. So, I mean, of course, Shred goggles are going to work best with Shred helmets, but they're actually helmet compatible, so they'll fit really well with any other brand out there.
Nice. Okay. Thanks, Gord.
You should be with both.
You gotta be all in, right?
Yeah, exactly, all in.
Why not?
But they work otherwise.
Okay. Awesome. Question from Taylor: can the lens for Provocator airflow be used in the standard Provocator frames?
Yes, both lenses are interchangeable.
Okay.
Yep.
And how easy is it to interchange?
We don't have a Provocator lens. They're easy though. You just push on it through the nose, and it just pops out, and you just pop it back in. So
that's probably the worst experience. You're always afraid to like crack lenses, and I do not like swapping out lenses. So
we had one here, but we'll have on our website, or we can put one on your little lens changing
on Experticity for sure.
Something,
let's switch gears a little bit. Vinny's asking about as you've aged. I love that. As if you're just you're so aged. How is your training regiment adjusted? What are you doing different? What are you doing now?
Throughout my career, I've definitely been somewhat of a hammerhead in the gym, so I just go in there and lift a ton of weight hard every single day, and that was really good for like getting in shape and getting strong and being faster, but maybe it wasn't as good on my body. So this last year I had back surgery actually, so I had 2 herniated discs that I was having like sciatic pain. So nowadays I definitely have to be smarter, so spending a lot more time on the mobility side of things, just kind of some like functional exercises that I might have just like glazed over before because just trying to be a hammerhead and get in and out of the gym as quickly as possible. And now I definitely have to spend more time on the subtler sides of training. Yeah, good. And training happens right here in Park City, right? Yeah, I'm lucky. I just mountain bike over the hill to the ski team gym, so it's nice having everything located right here. Yeah, absolutely. Another kind of oddball question, Claire. Thank you for asking this, though. I think someone had to ask this question. Are you a silent disco fan? A silent disco fan. And before you answer that, we have to define what silent disco is. A silent disco is a group of people wearing headphones, all listening to the same song, dancing, singing, but if you take your headphones off, there's no music playing. So I'd actually never done it before until a wedding this weekend, actually, where they had to shut the music off by 10 so they could, in order to keep the party going, they turned it into a silent disco. And it's pretty hilarious. So I would say I'm a fan because you take off the headphones and it's like there's no music going on, but people are like singing and dancing all crazy. And I think when you're wearing the headphones, it definitely brings up the party a notch. Claire, thank you. If anyone has any other questions about Shred Optics, you were here for that too, but let the record show Ted is a silent disco fan. Did you have anything specific that inspired you or kept your motivation up during the surgery? This question came from Maida in Zimbabwe. She's 10 years old. Wow. Tell us about that. What kept you inspired? I mean, that surgery can be a demanding process. Yeah, I've had a couple 2 years in a row now of like shortened seasons. ACL last year and back this year. So, the great thing about skiing is that it's fun. It's so much fun to get out there and ski, and so that's a big inspiration for me. It's just I want to be able to go back out there and push myself and have more fun. And I'm a super competitive person as well, so going out there and competing and racing at the highest level is so much fun for me, and I just have that drive still. So
sure.
There's definitely like hard days in there for sure, and rehab is never fun, but just inspired to get out there and keep pushing myself.
Yeah, thanks for the question, Maida. That was great.
Yeah.
Can you tell us, Norman's asking about what kind of drills do you do for, gaining quickness from edge to edge?
Gaining quickness edge to edge. So like in dryland, we'll do like a lot of like quickness stuff with, the speed ladder and whatnot.
Okay.
But on the hill, I think just skiing and like going through the bumps or just like skiing in a bunch of different conditions is really important, trying to do some short swing turns or whatever it is. So
not the same thing over and over, but really being flexible for different conditions.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice. Looks like we're having some audio issues. Hopefully that kind of worked out, but we'll talk louder if needed. You missed some really good stuff if you haven't heard us. Let's see here. So yeah, watch for Shred Optics later this fall, joining Experticity. We're going to wrap up with a couple more questions here. Got Jim asking, is there a single sunglass selection that would be an excellent choice for mountain biking in hot southwestern Arizona, desert, or even in the slopes of Montana ski slope? So kind of an all-around sunglass.
So our Provocateur is a good, it's our sunglass that has like the most wraparound. So that's like kind of the go-to for a lot of people mountain biking, and we have an airflow lenses there, so you get the ventilation. A bunch of actually like more of our mountain bikers, a lot of our people are going towards the Belushi, which is more of like the Wayfair style, but so there's just different options there for sure. But our no wake technology makes them super lightweight, and also some of the most comfortable sunglasses out there on the market. So they're awesome options for sure.
Nice. So let's talk Olympics real quick.
Yep.
Tell us about the 2 gold medals that you won. What was that experience like? Just take us back. I just think we just need to take a moment and just hear that story. I think experts are curious to hear as well. Tell us what that experience was like. What did it take to get there? What was it like, winning the gold? Walk us through it.
So my 2 gold medals happened in vastly different spans of time. So I won my first gold medal in 2006 in Torino, and I was only 21 years old, and I was just psyched to be at the Olympics. I was a contender for sure, but I wasn't a favorite, And so to go there and in my first event, first Olympics, to go and win, I was just blown away. I still think I'm surprised that I won there, and when you say I'm an Olympic gold medalist, it's still kind of stunning. But to be able to win there and have my parents there and listen to the national anthem, only being 21 years old, I'd never won a World Cup race before that. Been on the podium a few times, but for that to be my first big international win was huge and a surprise and just an amazing experience. And then the Sochi Olympics just a couple years ago, totally different experience in that, now I'm a veteran, and I was also the big favorite. I was the overwhelming favorite, so it comes with a ton more pressure. So, we're in Torino when I won, it was jubilation, just so much excitement and surprise. And in Sochi, it was there's being super psyched and super happy about it, but also a huge sigh of relief in a way too, because being the favorite leading up, there's so much hype around what you're trying to do and all that, and so to be able to live up to that is a huge sigh of relief.
What's your ritual going into that Sochi race? I mean, 5 minutes before, what are you doing? What are you listening to music? Tell us about what is maybe even superstitions, stuff you do not do.
So I'm not one for really superstitions. I mean, when I'm in the start gate, I definitely have a routine. I was super nervous. I mean, I think everybody in the Olympics is nervous, but especially when you're one of the favorites, it's all that more nerve-wracking, especially because ski racing, the favorite often does not win, just because there's so many little things that can go wrong, and it's such a small window of opportunity to compete your best. But the way I kind of combat that is I just kind of joke around with the coach that's up in the start with us, and also my technician and the physio that's up there with us. So just trying to like keep my mind off the race for the first half an hour before I go. And also, some of the competitors that I'm really good friends with, we kind of joke around. We like let off each other's like nervous energy.
Sure.
And then when it's like 10 minutes before I go, I start to go through the course in my mind a few times, get that ingrained, and then I'm stretching, getting ready, physically, and then in the start gate, I just try to go blank. I try not to think about it. So the whole game plan is already ingrained at the back of my head, and I'm just trying to ski instinctively at that point.
Wow, that's amazing. That's awesome. And maybe if we're watching in the Korean games, if you guys are doing a silent disco in the start gate.
That's the after party?
Yeah, maybe that's the after party. We'll know what you're doing. And you heard it here first. If Ted's doing a silent disco, we all know why.
Yeah.
So that's great. Again, Dave was asking when will Shred Optics be on Experticity? Again, it'll be here this fall. So watch for that. And then let's see what other questions we have here. Brad's asking, when you're at the top level in the World Cup, what do you think are the key traits that separate the top 15 in the world to the top 50?
Ski racing is a huge mental sport, so I think the mental side of it's super important. So guys that are 50th in the world will be super fast in training sometimes. We have guys on the U.S. ski team that beat me in training all the time in giant slalom, but then on a race, they really can't pull it out. So that's, I think, the big differentiator. I mean, technique and all that stuff is important for sure, but once you're actually racing, being able to handle it mentally is the most important piece for sure.
Okay, great question, Brad. Love that. And then looks like we got a cool photo here from Eric. Looks
Where
like
are they skiing? There's not a lot of snow.
I know, yeah. They have their ski boots on, but it looks like they're in the desert. So if you're looking at the comments, we're just checking out Eric's photo. Made a skiing in Lesotho last week. So.
Whoa. All right.
Okay.
That's exotic.
Awesome. Where's the funnest place you've ever skied?
I mean, I grew up skiing here at Park City in Deer Valley, and so I'm always biased towards, skiing the home mountain for sure. I think skiing in France is some of the coolest skiing. I was actually really lucky to ski in Greenland a couple years ago, so that was a neat experience. Nice. So, I've been lucky enough to ski in a bunch of awesome places. I'm headed to New Zealand next week, so, training down there, and that's obviously an awesome place. It's maybe not like the coolest ski place in the world, but it's one of the coolest places in the world otherwise. So,
nice.
I've skied all over the place, but, Utah's some of the best skiing no matter what.
Good. Nice to know that 801 delivers. And Experticity is here.
We're 435 here.
Oh, 435. Oh my gosh. Don't. Can we cut that? We got to edit that out. That was bad form on my part. What is the story behind your legendary blue ski sunglasses? This comes from Valerie. Kind of unusual name. What's the blue ski?
So that's our flagship sunglass. It kind of looks a little bit like Wayfair-esque. And we just wanted a sunglass that was cool looking, and just a fun name, just kind of like a retro-y, just kind of goofy take on another name.
Nice.
And it's been our flagship sunglass since the get-go.
So watch for the blue ski.
Yep.
Shred Optics is also in backcountry.com, Jans. So if you want to get an inside look, you can go to shredoptics.com or check it out at Backcountry, Jan's locations, especially here locally in Utah if you're in the neighborhood. But Backcountry has it. For those experts working at Backcountry, definitely watch the replay. There's some good information here on technology and just some of the story behind it, which is great. We've got a couple minutes left. Go ahead and ask those last questions. We're still here with Ted Ligety, two-time gold medal Olympian. Really excited to be here talking about Shred Optics. Let's see what else we may have missed here. There's some really good stuff. Scott, will you be incorporating polarized lenses in the goggles? Is that in the future, or is that happening now?
We've tested polarized lenses and goggles a bunch, and the problem with polarized lenses in snow is that in skiing, your point of view is always changing, and the slope is always changing, and polarized lenses just take out the light rays from one dimension, so it actually ends up like changing your like perception of the snow the whole way down. So we found actually it's kind of a negative thing to have a polarized lens. So we've tested a bunch over the years and different orientations of it, and we feel like our CBL is the best solution out there.
Yeah, great question, and really good to know. And then, who do you look up to? This came from Gabriel. Who do you look up to, and who is your life's hero?
My first hero in ski racing was Tommy Moe. I remember watching the Olympics in 1994, and I was 9 years old and just starting to ski race, and watching him win the gold medal was a huge inspiration. So that was like my first hero. Growing up in Park City, we always had the World Cup every year, so I was able to see guys like Alberto Tomba and Michael von Grunig, and all those guys were heroes growing up. So really lucky to have interacted with a bunch of those guys.
Nice. And then Brad is asking, what is your reach goal for this season?
The goal for this season is, win a medal at the Olympics or win a gold medal at the Olympics.
That's right.
And then try to win the Giant Slalom title again. So, World Cup season is super important as well.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thanks everyone for joining. We're going to wrap up with one more question here. Mark is asking, and this kind of goes on the SliTech side of things. Do you guys make back protection? Sounds like.
So we're like one of the original. Actually, we're the original back protection for soft protection. So before, for a while, people have been making the hard shell, but we figured it wasn't as good protection-wise, but also it didn't give you the freedom of motion. So I feel like, this is our Flexi back protector. We utilize our SliTech no shock. So that's our honeycomb cone structure, which allows the forces to be dissipated. The geometry there. This is super flexible too. So the idea behind this is that you put it on, you forget you're wearing it, super comfortable, and then our foam is the best foam out there protection-wise. So best impact. This being so thin, almost as flexible as your sweatshirt, it still passes the safety certification for motorcycling, which is the main certification out there for back protector. So, super safe piece, and definitely one of our flagships right here is the Flexi.
Yeah, well, thanks, Mark, for that question.
Yeah.
Watch for the SliTech body armor on Experticity and on Shred. Last question, this is something we ask all our guests, is what is something you can tell us that may get your lawyers a little uncomfortable? Is there anything coming into the future, anything that you don't normally tell anyone that you can only tell experts here today? What is coming, or I don't know.
I mean, we're always trying to progress for sure. That makes our lawyers uncomfortable. It's hard to say on that regard.
All right. But yeah, some experts are always wondering, what is that? What can we expect in a year? Just any early teasers of what's coming for Shred.
We're just keeping pushing forward. Always trying to make everything safer. Helmet-wise, we're leading out there safety-wise. Goggles, we have the best field of view of anybody else out there. So yeah, we're pushing on a lot of fronts, and we're making some cool stuff. So you should definitely check us out.
All right, and so nothing in the works around silent disco integrated helmets or anything.
Not at this.
Some good ideas.
Not at this second. That's an interesting idea.
We have some ideas flowing.
Jump on
here.
that bandwagon.
Well, thank you so much for joining. We've been here with Ted Ligety, two-time gold medalist with Shred Optics. He's the founder of this company that is joining Experticity this fall. Thank you for asking those questions right here on the Expert Live Show. Watch us for future episodes coming soon. And Ted, thank you so much for having us.
Thank you for having me.
All right, thanks.
Thanks.
Thanks, experts.